Good morning and welcome to Wednesday, December 28th. And today I'm so excited because we're going to talk about Mr. Bushytails, which you know he's one of my favorite guys. And we're going to talk about what Mr. Bushytails likes to eat, and that is acorns. So I'm pretty excited about today. So let's begin our day in prayer. Let's fold our hands and bow our heads. Dear God, keep us safe at work and play. Help us be our best today. Amen. Welcome, welcome everyone. Now we're here, we'll have some fun. First we'll stretch, touch our toes, clap our hands, and then who knows? Welcome, welcome everyone. Now we're here, we'll have some fun. Whew. It's Wednesday. I'm also excited because it's a Zoom call day and I get to chit chat with you. So let's jump right in. All right, so the things that we are going to work on today, because we're in the season of fall, we're going to talk about acorns and we're going to talk about Mr. Bushytails. So the first thing you're going to see is your worksheet. That kind of doesn't make any sense. It's all scrambled. And I'm not sure if I put this on construction paper. If I didn't, then I would like you to glue this on some construction paper. When you see this worksheet, it's going to look like this. Okay, it's going to look like it's going to have a couple leaves hanging around. And I just cut it out and I glued it on my construction paper. All right, and then I'm going to cut it out so all we see is our picture, which is kind of silly. It's not in the right order. Well, that's because this picture is a puzzle. This picture is a puzzle. So after we get it cut out, it's going to look like this. Still silly, still doesn't make any sense, but we're going to cut down our dotted lines. So when we're done, we're going to have 4 squares. And then it's going to be our job to put this puzzle together. So let's see, I'm going to grab some tape, so I'm going to tape it so you can see what it looks like when it's all together. And then after it's all together and it makes sense to us, then we can color it in. So when it's your coloring time today, we can color it in. So let's start. I'll give you a hint. It's a picture of our favorite guy here. And we're just going to have to start figuring out what goes where. And I'm going to give you a clue here, guys. It's going to take a little bit of time because I don't think that this is an easy puzzle, but that could be just me. You're super duper good at putting puzzles together. I remember that from last year. I'm going to tape mine. You're not going to tape yours because then you can, after you color it in, you can use it as a puzzle. So I'm going to show you what mine looks like when I put it together. And there's Mr. Bushytails, and he is surrounded by those yummy acorns. So once you get it together, then when it's time to color, you can color in Mr. Bushytails. And Mr. Bushytails can be brown. He can be gray, maybe have some black in him. Definitely he's going to have a little bit of white in him. You'll see when he's running around, especially his tail. See all the colors in his tail? There's some brown in there, some like cream or white. And then if you look underneath him, you see some white. The Mr. Bushytails in my backyard, I usually see gray more than anything, but I'm going to quickly color in some brown here. And then I would like to see some beautiful different color leaves on the bottom because leaves are changing colors, and especially now you are really going to see some beautiful colors out there. because our leaf changing is at our peak in New Jersey, where we live in the state of New Jersey. So you're really going to see some beautiful colors. I'm probably shaking the camera as I'm coloring, but I just picked a couple of beautiful fall colors and I started coloring it in. Now our acorns, if you remember, our acorns, I'm going to grab one of my little guys, but I picked this to show you. This is an acorn from my backyard, and you see it's hollow. Mr. Bushytails has chewed a hole in it, and then he's eaten everything out in the middle or the inside of the acorn, the actual nut he has eaten. And I'm going to pick one before he got a hold of one. And here's one that's full. But you can see on the bottom, it's a little darker on the bottom, and the top is a little lighter brown. I also have a big one over here. You might be able to see it a little better. And you can see the bottom is brown and the top. And you can see there's a pattern on the top. It looks like almost like little leaves, but it's hard. That's the pattern for the top. So, and you can see here, they made the pattern for the top. All right, so you can make the top a little lighter and the bottom a little darker if you want, but it's your creation. You can do whatever you want to do. All right, so that's our squirrel puzzle. Mr. Bushytails and his acorns. All right, I want to read you a book called Because of an Acorn. Because of an Acorn. Because of an acorn, a tree. Now you can see that acorn's starting to open and it's sprouting upward, and it's also developing roots downward. Okay, because of an acorn, a tree, because of a tree. Now that's that little acorn, and you can see the tree starting. A bird. So I think this is that tree that's growing up, up, up. Maybe a smaller one because we just started to grow it. Because of a bird, because the bird wanted to get into the tree, a seed. Look at these seeds. Ooh, look at that guy. That bird is munching on a bug. Because of a seed, a flower. The seeds dropped off and a flower is growing. And because of a flower, we have fruit. And because of fruit, our beautiful tree full of fruit, a chipmunk. And because of a chipmunk, a snake. Look at this guy down here, a snake. Because of a snake, a hawk comes, because that hawk wants that snake for dinner. Because of a hawk, here's the hawk in the tree, and he's got the snake. Here's Mr. Bushytails. An acorn. So our hawk is in the tree and shakes an acorn down on the ground. And because of an acorn, we have a forest. Because of those acorns dropping and growing in the ground, we have a beautiful forest. All because of one acorn. That's how important one seed or one acorn can be. Acorns grow. If we look at this picture, you can see another acorn. That looks like a pretty big acorn. And acorns look at the garden. Many kinds of plants can grow in the garden. An oak tree is one of them. And the oak tree has the leaves And look how the acorns look before they turn brown. It's just like the pumpkin, when the pumpkin starts as the flower and then it gets to be a small green ball, grows a little bigger, turns yellow, and then turns orange. The acorns start out as green. There's Mr. Bushytails chomping away. And look, he's hiding. This Mr. Bushytails is hiding his dinner in the ground, just like our poem. We'll say that in a minute. And this is the seed. When the acorn starts to become a tree, it opens up. You can see the seed inside, and then the root starts to grow. Just like the baby pumpkin we saw, the seed opened up and the roots started to grow. And the roots grow deeper and deeper and deeper, and then the stem of the tree, it starts to grow, starts to sprout up. And then before you know it, you have a beautiful oak tree. All right, so 2 songs that we could sing. We could sing, I'm a little acorn nut lying on the cold, cold ground. Everybody steps on me, that is why I'm cracked, you see. I'm a nut, I'm a nut, I'm an acorn nut. Then we could sing about Mr. Bushytails. Hi, Mr. Bushytails, how are you today? You should be gathering nuts. You don't have time to play, for winter is coming and the snow will be all around. And there you'll find your dinner hidden safely in the ground. Just like our picture shows, Mr. Bushytails is burying his acorns so when it gets cold and he can't find any food, he can go back and dig his acorns up and have a yummy dinner, even when it's cold out. All right, so I also gave you a worksheet of a big acorn. This is a big guy. And we can go ahead and, when you have time, when it's coloring time, you can go ahead and color this. I'm going to put some marks on the top of our acorn, trying to give it that pattern that we saw. So I'm just gonna, just crisscrosses if you want. And that's that pattern on the top of our acorn. And then we can go ahead and color it in. We can maybe do light brown on the top. And then we can do a darker brown on the bottom, because remember the bottom of our acorn was darker. And I'm just gonna do a tiny bit to show what I'm talking about. Darker and maybe a little lighter on the top. That's just a fun worksheet to do with a gigantic acorn. All right, and the last thing that we're gonna do before our Zoom call today is count and color. Count and color. So I like to do this together, even though you do your coloring later. We don't really, we can color it or we can mark it, but we're looking at Mr. Bushytails in this column right here. And Mr. Bushytails has a 2 here. So he's gonna eat 2 acorns. So we're gonna count 1, 2, and we're gonna color in 2 acorns. I don't care what color you use. You can do it all different colors, and mine certainly isn't going to be in the lines and tremendous like yours will be, because I'm going to do this a little quicker. So Mr. Bushytails wants 2 acorns for breakfast, so I colored in 1, 2. If we go to the next line, how many acorns does Mr. Bushytails want for lunch? And that's the number 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the number 4. So we're going to count 4 acorns. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to color in 4 acorns for Mr. Bushytails' lunch. I'm going to use purple on this one. Like I said, it doesn't matter what colors you use. If you want to make them look like real acorns, you can use the black and the brown. But I thought we'd have a little fun today and just use any colors we felt like. So for lunch, Mr. Bushytails had 1, 2, 3, 4 acorns. Let's look at what he's going to have for dinner. I guess he's not too hungry, because what number is this? 1. Mr. Bushytails has 1 acorn for dinner. He must have filled up on his breakfast and his lunch, because he's only going to eat 1 acorn. Okay, then if we look at our next row, this is his before bedtime snack. before bedtime snack. So I guess he didn't eat enough here because he really is hungry here because he wants to eat five acorns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew, 5 acorns. Mr. Bushytails, you're gonna get a tummy ache. But that's what he wants to eat. So we are going to color in 5 acorns. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 acorns. Whew, 5 acorns. And then he goes to bed. And he wakes up early in the morning, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. And he decides he's still hungry, so he wants more acorns. And how many more acorns does Mr. Bushytails want for his midnight snack? So we see a number 3 here. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to color in 3 more acorns until Mr. Bushytails' mommy wakes up and says, no more acorns, you're going to get a tummy ache. What are you thinking? But we will color in those 3 acorns at the bottom. So we can go back and review and check our work. We have 2 acorns here, 1, 2, 4 acorns here, 1, 2, 3, 4. He only wants 1 acorn here, so there's 1 blue acorn. And then down here is when he really is hungry and he decides he wants 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 acorns. And his midnight snack is 1, 2, 3 acorns. Great job. If you guys have any trouble with those numbers and you're not sure about identifying them, when I talk to you in a little while on our Zoom call, you tell me what numbers you had problems with and we will review them. And remember, all these beautiful trees start with little acorns. Little green acorns that open up and they start a little sprout and they start roots and then they become a small tree. See the beautiful leaves? And then after many, many years, they become a beautiful tree. I have 2 of these very big trees in my backyard. And then you can see more of these beautiful acorns. Except my acorns, they don't really hit the ground because those squirrels eat them right out of the tree. Or they drop them on Bella and Tessa's head. Those silly Mr. Bushytails. All right, boys, have a great day. Do your best work on this, and I'll talk to you in a little while on our Zoom call. Bye-bye.